Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to completely flip the script on getting older. We live in this culture that basically treats aging like a tragedy, right? Like it's something to be fought, hidden away, and just generally feared. But what if we've been looking at it all wrong this whole time? What if aging isn't this long, slow, depressing decline, but actually a really dynamic, unique stage of incredible growth? Let's dive right in and totally redefine how we view our final chapters.
To get us started, I want you to think about this question. At what age are people the happiest? Seriously, take a second and think about it. Most of us just naturally assume it's childhood, right? Back when we had literally zero responsibilities. Or, I don't know, maybe your carefree college years, or perhaps your 30s, when you're finally settling into a career and building a family.
Well, get ready for this because it's wild. When older adults are actually asked to look back on their lives, the age that comes up most often as the happiest, it's 82. Yeah, 82. It completely shatters our everyday expectations about aging and misery. The science is actually telling us that our later decades can be our absolute most joyous and fulfilling. I think that sets a super optimistic tone for the science we're going to unpack today.
Which brings us to our first section, a new view of aging. It is well past time we stop viewing getting older as this period of unmitigated physical and mental decline. That popular narrative, the one where we just slowly lose our faculties, isn't just depressing, it's scientifically inaccurate. The truth is, our brains are continually developing. Sure, older minds might process raw, brand new data a little bit more slowly than, say, a 20-year-old's, but aging brings massive, completely unique advantages. We gain this incredible ability to intuitively synthesize a whole lifetime of complex information. We develop profound emotional resilience. And thanks to ongoing neuroplasticity, our brains are literally always changing. They're adapting and capable of growth no matter how many candles are crammed onto the birthday cake.
Okay, moving on to health span versus disease span. If we actually want to maximize a vibrant life, we have to recognize a really critical distinction in the science of the new longevity. You see, the goal here isn't just about adding years to our lifespan. Honestly, what is the point of living to 100 if the last 30 years are spent in misery and isolation? The real goal is adding healthy, vibrant life to those years.
So the crucial focus really becomes your health span. By definition, your health span is the period of your lifespan during which you are generally healthy, right before disease significantly limits your daily activities. Our ultimate goal as we age isn't simply a longer life on paper. It's aggressively delaying the onset of that disease span for as long as humanly possible.
Let's look at Grace and Eloise as an example. They both have identical lifespans. They both live to be exactly 100 years old. But Grace begins a gradual health decline right around 50. That means she spends half her life in the disease span. Eloise, on the other hand, makes everyday lifestyle choices that delay her decline until she's 95. That's decades of smooth sailing for Eloise just by maximizing her health span. Next up, we have the developmental triad. So, the big question, how do we become an Eloise instead of a Grace? Well, it all comes down to the underlying engine of how we age differently. Researchers call this framework the developmental triad. These are the three massive forces that are constantly shaping your brain's trajectory: genes, culture, and opportunity. Literally, no matter what age you are, your brain is always reacting to these three pressures. Your culture heavily shapes your values and your diet. Opportunity, or frankly, just plain luck and circumstance, plays a huge role in the situations you find yourself in. But how these external factors interact with your genes, that's where things get truly fascinating.
I love this quote. Think of your DNA as the script, and your cells are the actors. Your genes don't rigidly dictate exactly how your life is going to go. They really just provide the stage directions and the raw material. You, as the actor, can totally improvise off that genetic script based on your environment and the choices you make every single day. You are definitely not a prisoner to your DNA.
That brings us to our next section, the power of personality. And honestly, this is the most fascinating secret weapon in aging well. It is not some magic supplement or a billion-dollar medical procedure. It is simply your individual personality. For a really long time, psychologists thought personality was basically set in plaster by early adulthood. We are completely shattering that myth today. Your personality traits are highly malleable. If you're naturally pessimistic, disorganized, or, quick to anger, you aren't stuck that way. You can consciously work to change your traits, and by doing so, you can literally alter your physical health outcomes decades down the line. So, let's look at the big 5 traits. To really understand how to categorize and actually change your personality, scientists use a sort of map.
This is the rigorous framework used by researchers all over the globe to categorize these malleable traits.
Here they are, the big five: extroversion, agreeableness, conscientiousness, emotional stability, and openness. Now, these aren't just arbitrary psychology labels, they literally dictate your brain chemistry. For instance, openness and extroversion govern how your brain processes dopamine, which is your reward chemical. Meanwhile, conscientiousness and emotional stability reflect how you manage serotonin, basically keeping the drama low and the contentment high. When you change these traits, you are literally rewiring your brain chemistry.
Next up is the La Dolce Vita effect. Because here is the genuinely incredible part about all this. The natural aging process actually does some of the heavy lifting for us.
Just look at the contrast in how we age. The youthful brain is heavily wired for flexibility and novelty seeking, so very high openness. But the aging brain? Older adults actually improve in self-control. They become highly agreeable and way more focused on cooperating and getting along with other people. In fact, emotional stability steadily increases in practically every single decade after you turn 20. We just naturally become less reactive.
Scientists actually call this the La Dolce Vita effect, which translates to the sweet life. As we age, severe mood disorders actually drop. People naturally become more self-content, more laid back, and much more appreciative of what they have right in front of them. It's this beautiful, natural, biological shift towards a happier, more stable brain. But of course, we can also actively help this process along to ensure we stay sharp.
So, the crucial point is how we put all this into practice today. Enter the coach principle. This is an actionable framework to actively rewire our brain starting right now. C is for staying curious about the world around you. O is maintaining openness to new experiences. A is for keeping up social associations, because honestly, social isolation is absolutely toxic to the aging brain. C is practicing conscientiousness by being organized and diligent. And H is for engaging in healthy practices, good sleep hygiene, diet, and moving your body.
Remember, every single choice you make, no matter your age, is physically rewiring your brain. You are the director holding the script. So, I want to leave you with this. What decisions will you make today to use your neuroplasticity and write your absolute best final chapter? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and we will see you next time.